Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm happy to be with you here today. I hope you're having a good day. It's the middle of the week, nearing the end of January, and pretty soon spring's going to be here. So, whatever your weather is, hang in there. It's going to get nice and wonderful pretty soon. Today, I'd like to share a scripture in my continuation this week of just random scriptures from the book of Job. Now, before I read the scripture itself, let me remind you that Job is a story about a man who was very, very godly. And supposedly God and Satan had a discussion about what would it take to turn Job away from God. And so God said, okay, Job, Satan, you can do whatever you want with Job, but you can't kill him. So he goes through all kinds of troubles. And the story of the book of Job is his three friends trying to explain to him why he's going through so much troubles. And he keeps saying, I didn't do anything. They keep giving him advice. And so in the 8th chapter, we find the first response to Job from Bildad, one of his friends. And he starts out by sort of sticking a knife in Joseph's side and kind of telling him that, you did something to justify this. Now, what is it? But go ahead and tell the truth. Admit what you did. And each of the other two guys take the same approach. And Job keeps saying the same thing. I didn't do anything. I didn't speak against God. And I guess they're trying to help. Let's put it that way. They're trying to help him understand why all of this has happened to him. He's lost everything, family, possessions, all of it's gone. Even his health is 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 going through the various things that have happened. So Bildad comes in here and he says, how long will you go on like this? And as I said, he's trying to be helpful. He goes through a whole bunch of stuff. And then he gets to verse 20 and 21. Let me read these. But look, this is Bildad saying to Job, but look, God will not reject a person of integrity, nor will he lend a hand to the wicked. Now, the implication here is that Job isn't telling the truth. He's doing something, but he's not admitting it. And so Bildad is trying to remind him, hey, people of integrity, God doesn't punish. Well, of course, we know that people of integrity live in this sinful world like people without integrity, and sin doesn't seem to care who it affects. So he says, if you, the implication here is if you had integrity, then you wouldn't have it. But then he goes on to say, now look, if you kind of admit that you don't have uh, this perfect allegiance to God that you're claiming, verse 21, he will once again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Now, here's what we want to look at today. First off, you have Bildad, who is convinced that his friend Job has to have done something. And I run into people all the time whose lives, I want to say, have changed, but they have reached a point where something's really wrong. And they say, what did I do? Well, it's a good thing to look at what you've done and honestly try to figure it out. But in a lot of cases, what you have done isn't the issue at all. A lot of parents have trouble relationship wise with their kids. And what did I do? Well, I don't want to say they didn't do anything, but maybe it's the kid's fault. We are quick to blame others for their misgivings. I heard it once said that the church is the only institute that shoots its wounded. We want to blame them for something happening. And perhaps you have been on either the blaming end or the got blamed end. Neither one is godly, but it leaves big scars. So Bildad said, look, people who have integrity are not treated this way by God. The implication is Job doesn't have it. And then he says this profound thing. I'm not sure he knows what he's talking about, but he said, he, God, will once again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Bildad is really given Job a glimpse into what the future actually is going to become. And if you read the rest of the book, and I might do the book one time here in the future, but if you read the rest of it, it says that God gave Job back everything he lost, plus. You see, when we give our lives to God and when we stand for what he wants us to stand for, he will make our mouths filled with laughter. He will change us. Now, there are a lot of people who think God doesn't do anything but punish. And I suppose, based on some scriptures in the Bible, you might think that. But based on the life of Jesus, there's no way that that's all God does. God is about life and enjoying life and being fulfilled in life. And it's for you and for me, wherever you are in your walk with God, or even if you don't have one with God. If you're down today, what some people call Debbie Downers, and I don't know where that word came from, but you sure know them in a hurry. Once you come up to one of these folks, everything is negative. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. They just don't know how to say anything positive. And they drag other people down with them. And maybe that's what's happened to you. Or maybe just today you think it's all over. I might as well give up. Maybe you think that today is the day I quit, whatever it is, because the burdens are too big and they're too heavy. Well, at that moment, here's what God says through this guy, Bildad. He, meaning God, will again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Can you imagine your life being lived that way? Can you imagine when something bad happens in your life, instead of reacting with negativity, you react with joy? Oh man, I wonder what God's going to do with all of this. Because he is going to do something with all of this. He doesn't leave us behind. He will never, ever, ever withdraw his presence from us. And if we haven't found it before, I encourage you to seek him now and understand what I'm sharing here. Well, thanks for listening. If you have a need or concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. So until next week, God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.